You got it tonight, right?
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I will call Bucyrus City Council Joint Regular Committee meeting to order Thursday, March 18th, 2021 at 6 o'clock. Members present.
This conference will now be recorded.
It's going to be recorded now.
Members present, myself, Kevin Myers, James Mee, Bruce Truca, C. Aaron Sherrick, Doug Foat, and Lisa Allsett. Sorry, City Joint Regular Committee meeting was called to order by myself, Mark McKeever, at 6 p.m. Any public participation? Not seeing any. Nobody's wanting to step up. Bill, you want to step up? Nothing yet, right? Okay. All right, order of committee business. We changed the order that plating committee will start at 6 p.m. So, approval of minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the last meeting that I moved to approve the minutes.
All right. Do I have a second? Okay. All right, I have a first and a second. If there's no other discussion or any comments, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any open projects?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just a quick comment. Last week, after we, 2 weeks ago, after we last met, I sent a letter to the Planning Commission asking them to take up the matter of rezoning the bakery next door.
Yes.
And the Planning Commission is meeting on the 22nd, which is Monday. I think it's at 4 o'clock, and they have 3 items on their agenda, and that is one of them, just an FYI.
Monday 4. Okay. All right. With that, if no other discussion, I will adjourn at 6:02 p.m. Before we go to the next one, anybody has anything on open projects, let's try to discuss it. Bring it up at the next meeting and work on them. Okay. Aaron.
Yes. Okay, I call the Public Lands and Buildings Committee to order at 6:02 p.m. Members present, Mark McKeever, Bruce Truca, Doug Foat, and myself, Chair. First up, we have the approval of minutes.
I move that we go ahead and approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, I got it from Foat first, sorry.
Oh, he's a little quiet over there.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Next on our public lands is the street garage.
Yes, that's me.
That's you.
Well, as we've talked in the past about the street garage facility and looking at Irving Street to maybe build a new facility there. We do have quite a bit of interest in our building there. We've had few people in town that have businesses that reached out to know if we'd like to sell it or not, and we said we were just in the works of trying to design a building and see how much that would cost. So we have Jeff Dunn here and Jeff Beamer from J&F, and they're going to kind of go out a layout of what they got put together. And I think, John, do you have it up there?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Jeff and Jeff.
Do you mind if I go over there and so I can see something? Hey,
If you could state your name and address.
Yeah, my name is Jeff Beamer. I'm with J&F Construction. My address is 233 South Center Street, New Washington, Ohio. So been working with Jeff Dunn on a preliminary design for a new street department facility. This is currently our third layout that we've come up with. Currently, we're trying to figure out kind of where our budget's going to be. We're trying to go through a program called Sourcewell. And Sourcewell is like basically a pre-bid, kind of like, in other words, state contract purchasing for building construction purposes. The only construction company that's authorized through Sourcewell to do construction is Blue Scope Construction, which is part of Butler Manufacturing, which is a pre-engineered metal building company that we sell. So with our partnership with Blue Scope Construction and Butler, we can actually do the building from start to finish under Blue Scope Construction. They would be kind of treating this project as a construction managing position, and that we would take the full effect of the project from start to finish. So we would do all the architecturals, we'd pull all the permits, we'd do the entire project from start to finish and hand you a set of keys at the end of the project. All under Blue Scope Construction's umbrella to be within the Sourcewell program parameters, okay? So what we're proposing at this moment is a 17,000 square feet building. It is 50 foot wide by 340 foot long. The reason that building is that size is because we have so much limitation as far as the positioning of the building because of all the other buildings on the property. The building behind where the water distribution center is right now, what is it, Jeff, 5,500 square feet?
Roughly 5,500, yes.
That's an existing wood structure that's being used for storage right now. I know there's a couple, I think there's a fire apparatus in it and other multiple storage areas in there. So that building is really hindering the location and the size of the facility that we can propose. We first originally yes, that one right there that you're pointing to.
It's the brown one with all the garage doors
Yep.
on it for the people
Yep.
that are driving by looking at it.
Yep, so originally we had like 21,000 square feet. The current facility is 20,000 square feet. So we were trying to stay within the 20,000 range. But unfortunately with the position of the location of the building that we wanted to put it, compared to the water distribution building, which is the white one up at the very top, that's the main one. The original layout we had like 100 feet wide. Well, it didn't provide us enough room for truck turnaround outside the building, the garage doors and everything, to get a truck to make a good turning radius. So we had to shrink the building up. And along with that, with the building in the back, the storage building, we had to narrow this thing up to 50 feet wide. Okay? So currently it's 17,000 square feet. We've got 1,500 square feet on the very top, up against Irving Street, is a 50 by 30 office area for Jeff, an open office, locker room, bathroom, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else really part of it. The middle drawing right there, that's kind of the blow up. Over to the left is the office area. Yeah, that area right there. And then from that area back, kind of where you see, that's the, where he's pointing is the truck rack for the mechanic. The next bay, or next two bays, is just general mechanic space. He can bring in other equipment and work on it on the concrete floor rather than having it on the jack stands or the lift. Next bay to that, that's the wash bay. We're proposing the wash bay to be no steel in it whatsoever. I proposed some fiberglass reinforced corrugated panels to go full height from top of block wall up, and then from 8 foot down will be block wall painted with epoxy coating. So there's nothing in there that could rust. All my fasteners are stainless steel, so that we don't have the same situation as what we got now out there at the current facility. Because all the siding out there is steel, it's rusting. The bottom of it's starting to get real bad, so I wanted to make it so where it couldn't rust. Okay? So then past that, you see the other two trucks. From that point on is just truck storage. We've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bays. The first 4 bays would be for the larger trucks, which would be the garbage trucks, the vac trucks, you got your dump trucks, Jeff? And then the last 3 bays would be for like no, I shouldn't say personal vehicles, but the small pickup trucks and stuff like that. One thing with the previous designs, we had a drive-through lane, and we were just noticing it just wasn't working. We were spending too much money per square foot for an area all it does is a driveway inside of a building. So that's another benefit to going to the 50-foot wide and put doors on one side, and you just back in and so. Building height, 25 feet tall. If you go to the next sheet, John, elevations. So the upper drawing up top, that's the north elevation. We've got facing Irving Street. That's just going to be a single slope. Roof to the north. Just siding and block. I'm going to color the block so it at least has some color to it rather than just standard old gray. The side with all the doors, that's the east side. The one down low, the smaller one, that is the south elevation. And then all the way down, that is the west elevation facing the open grass area.
Those are offices on the right hand.
Yes, up there on the longer one, the longer elevation there, to the right side, that's the office right there. Yep. And the build out of the office, I'm just doing studs, drywall, ceilings, just basic thing. It's a street department. We don't need to make it super fancy. Let's see, what else?
Basically, I guess I should.
Go ahead.
Jeff Dunn, service garage foreman. The west side would be the existing fence that's up there now. So we still have 10 foot left over between the church land and the fence. So we'll have some clearance there. If you ever have to run a storm line down through there or anything, we still have room to do something like that.
As far as like electrical wise, mechanicals and plumbings, and we just got what we needed for him to service his trucks, wash his trucks, stuff like that for maintenance and all that stuff. So but I provide all of that information in here if anybody wanted to look at it. So any questions?
So we're losing 3,000 square feet?
From currently what you have now, their existing building is 20,000 square feet, and then your tin sheds, their slope shed and that?
Well, basically, John, down in the right-hand corner, that's a storage, we're using, that's a salt bed that we're using for storage now, so we gained storage square footage there. The building in the middle is basically going to be truck parking. It won't be heated, but that's 5,000, I think 400 or 500 square feet there. So basically, if you add that back in with the 17, we're no more than what we have now.
And the cost?
Right. Right now, our estimated budget is 1.7 million. That is through the Sourcewell program. Now, keep in mind that if by going through the Sourcewell helps you save money on the project, and by that I mean, number one is the Butler building that you get. This building will have the #1 roof system on the market on it. The Butler MR24 roof system.
Which would get us how many years?
That it's going to be lifetime, almost, because I've been at J&F for over 20 years, and I know for a fact that Butler has had MR24 roofs out there that are going at least 50 years strong.
Okay.
So
Okay.
That's the same roof that's on the.
that's the same
existing-
roof that's on yours.
It's on mine, and it's also on the existing street garage building.
Yes,
On Isaac Beale.
yes. Yeah.
there's no issues on the existing street garage roof, right?
No, we haven't had no issues with that.
That's the one thing with that roof, it's actually designed to move with heat and cold, with contraction, because of the special clips. So that's one of the big things why it's a real good roof and it lasts long. If you did like a screw down roof, no, them screws are gonna pop over time or start leaking. So that's why we recommend the stainless steel roof. So.
The blue thing you're talking about, is that a way to get around having to do a competitive bidding or?
The Blue Scope construction through the source well?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, if you went through the competitive bid process and not through the source well and Blue Scope construction,
It'd actually make the cost higher, wouldn't it?
you would make the cost higher because of, you have to hire an architect. He doesn't do the drawings for free. Okay, so the point, what drawings you see here, he would charge you for. I'm not. Okay? If you end up doing the project, he's going to charge you 7 to 10% over the entire construction cost of the facility, just to basically construction manage the project. I've got it all included. So you've got all of that issues, and you know, architects, they have their place, but they help drive the cost up. I'm there, I said it. It's on public record.
So it would probably be up to around 2 million.
You're gonna be over $2 million if you send this out to bid. Yeah.
And Sourcewell is where we buy our trucks through and equipment through, so it's the same program.
And plus, going through Blue Scope Construction, you're also getting the building at a cheaper rate than what I can buy it for.
And do we have money already set aside for this?
Yeah, I'm wondering where the difference is coming from. I'm sitting here.
I'm
I thought you
seeing,
guys were gonna donate it.
I'm seeing we might be
I'll
able to
write
sell
you a
this building
check.
for 300,000, but after that, where's the rest of this?
The current one? Oh, a lot more than that.
It says 525,000
Yeah, I
is
think-
what it was appraised at.
Okay.
So where's the extra million?
Well, I think
200,000.
what we need to do is we need to get it reappraised, because by listening to these numbers, we've got to get pushing 750 or 800,000 out of it.
Well, that appraisal was done too prior to COVID and all the
Yeah,
moratoriums
so
on foreclosure.
I think that would be our first step, to get a reappraisal. And then we do have money sitting in there from the water distribution garage and the garage down on Spring Street. So if we would get 750 or 8 for it, you're pushing $1 million or $1.1 million we would have.
But we're still
Wouldn't have-
$500,000 short.
I just wonder
True,
where the money's
but
coming
we
from.
also have money sitting in our street fund
Which
that we've been
they could use.
banking if it didn't pass.
And if I can add.
Which is what I'm asking.
Committee, is this-
Mine,
can I have permission to speak?
yes, sir.
Okay, then, the reason we're doing this is to consolidate all our services that we started to do years ago when we leased the Irving Street facility. And then, but I think just as important is to bring jobs to the community. We're actually 2 for 2 on that, of the 2 city buildings that we've sold so far. With the Mary Street Garage as well as the water distribution, both of those have employed, I know that one is, looking even to expand it further and doing so well. And if you go by the Mary Street Garage, you see a lot of business going on there. So, in the long term, this really, if we have to invest on it, it will pay for itself in tax revenues. We already have people that are interested, have approached us about buying this building. So, and are willing to wait until we can get the building up and vacated. So we have, we're going to be creating some jobs with this too. And that's really, I think, just as important as making our facility more efficient. Thank you.
How long are we locked in on these prices?
Right now, that is still a budget number. We're still waiting on some of the mechanical, electrical, plumbing numbers to come back in. With this latest revision, right now, we're not locked into anything.
Do we have enough money to cover the rest of the $500,000?
Yeah, we have it. We have it in the street fund right now.
Well, when this was first talked about 2 years ago, it was said that we'll only do this if it's revenue neutral. If we're pulling $500,000 out of the street fund, this is not revenue neutral. And as far as consolidation, we're gonna end up with the same number of buildings that we essentially have now. We're
It's
just
in one spot.
not being
It's
into
in
one,
one
we're
spot.
It's
being
in one
into
spot.
So what happens if that employer that's looking at that building then decides to move out of town because they can't expand? Then we're really in bad shape.
Who's the employer?
Not
Right.
liberty to say.
Why is the city in the real estate business? Why can't the economy, if it's so feasible, why can't they go out and build their own building in wherever they want in town?
Call construction costs right now are through the roof, they're astronomical because of COVID and all the lumber mills shutting down and everything
Let alone
else in the world.
supply
This is
lumber.
the other reason why property
we-
values are,
That's why we need the other estimate on that building
Right.
again.
I'm not arguing that, I'm just,
I mean, I can just go ahead and.
Are you talking about the
appraisal.
property where
Absolutely.
by the railroad tracks that's,
Yes.
okay.
yes.
I thought.
It was the former county garage.
Kind of by the health department
Yeah,
on that curve, okay.
Charlotte Street's the name of the street actually.
that
There's
one?
Isaac Beal after you get over the
Is
track.
that one selling or is that one?
That'd be the one we sell.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, wait, now I'm getting confused.
It was
Which most of the businesses that are in that area are the ones that are interested in it.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are you needing from us?
Well, I just, you just give me a verbal to get another appraisal done, we'll get
Another
that.
appraisal.
We
done.
would definitely want another appraisal done.
Okay,
Yes.
please, we'll get that, I'll call tomorrow.
Thank you. And
Sounds good.
you guys say you have the money in the street fund. Does that cut into any of the street fund,
Right.
street projects? 'Cause,
No,
we've got a lot of street projects.
Right.
no, we still have money in that fund after 2 or 3 years of not spending what we usually do on street paving, just because we didn't know if the levy was gonna pass or not. And it's passed every time we had it, but in order to operate the street garage, we needed to build money up in that fund if it didn't pass. So we've got
Yes,
some
I
extra
get
money
that.
sitting there that we could put towards it if you so choose to do that. But I'll get the appraisal done first and we'll go from there.
That'd be good. Get the appraisal and maybe get a figure, make sure that we know that we're not going out of pocket, like in debt, like other projects.
I'll get with Joyce and we'll have those numbers.
That'd be
for you.
great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, do we have any open projects that we know that we need to talk about tonight? Okay, if you guys want to think about any of the open projects, that'd be great, and I will recess public lands at 6:23.
Before you recess.
Oh, what?
Mr. Dunn is here. Somebody on Tuesday night, if you have questions about traffic, he's here.
About traffic lights or
Remember
just,
the other night,
Yeah.
I tried to get Mr. Dunn here, and
okay.
I believe it was
But that wasn't
Rensselaer
public
Street.
lands,
Mark
was it?
McKeever.
That was health and safety.
Yes, it is.
We need to get Mr. Foat out of here.
Yeah, what was the question? I guess I don't know what was.
Okay. Biggest problem is I don't understand, and I keep getting complaints, and I'm complaining as one
Recess
of them.
public lands though, right?
I don't understand why Charles, Warren, and Rensselaer cannot be set so that you don't turn off at Charles onto Sandusky and you get stopped at Warren. You get through Warren, you get stopped at Rensselaer. Then you get to the square, you get stopped there. I get that at 5:30 in the morning. I just don't understand. I'm asking you, bringing it to you to, isn't there a way? I thought Warren and Rensselaer as Charles has looped lines to be tripped by cars that come up. Can it or can it not be programmed so that all three lights, if somebody pulls up at Charles and Warren, and it can change those lights so that they're red for the north-south and the east-west can proceed, that somebody pulls up at Rensselaer, they have to wait a whole cycle again before it trips, so that you don't have one and then another, then another. That's what my biggest question is. And also, Rensselaer has been having problems where it doesn't operate, it just goes flashing, which confuses people. And I understand it's mechanical and something happens and you can't always fix it. It's
First of all, the system's set up to run off a master unit on the square. That's not happening right now. It's set up independent. The loop lines are shut off, so you don't have it. It's on a timer only. Back in, I think it was 2016, Dave came up from Baldwin Sowers that does our traffic stuff, and he sat there and basically tried to sync all the lights together because they wasn't on the master anymore. Over time, with that problem at Rensselaer Street, it made it worse, so the timing's way off now. So for me to fix it is to turn it back on the master, but then pedestrians can't cross in. You don't have that crossing, you don't have a
Button on the pole?
yeah, that would have to be added, so that people would have an option at Warren Street or Rensselaer. During the state project, those two intersections weren't even supposed to have traffic lights. The city at that time, council decided to go ahead and have them put in, but the loop line never got put in. Not the loop line, the traffic pedestrian never got put in. So I went back through some traffic notes here. Ron Moore's back then said it would cost $250,000 or something like that in a traffic commission meeting to have that pedestrian walk put in.
For both streets?
No, just for one only. And since then, I don't know what the price is. After I found out, I think Kurt asked the question at a traffic commission meeting last year. And after that, I went back and researched that, and so I don't know what the cost would be today.
Is there a communication problem between the master and the intersections?
It's not answering to it right now, it's shut off. Every intersection's on its own.
But it could be turned back on.
Yes, then you would have the other problem that people trying to walk across. But yes, they could be turned back on, loop lines could be turned back on,
Then you just couldn't cross the street as a pedestrian.
then you gotta wait, yeah.
Maybe we'll get less complaints that way than we're getting now, because we're getting a
Not up
lot.
to me, that's up to the traffic commission, let me know.
I don't know if you necessarily want to deter walking in your downtown area though either.
Well, it makes more walking, because you'd have to go up to the Washington Square.
Well, you have to go to Charles
But it keeps
Street
people from
or-
actually going down and doing it.
Square.
Right.
All them little old ladies gonna love you.
He's got a question over here, sir. All right, there you go.
Mr. Dunn, are the individual intersection controllers on a real-time clock in their control?
Real time clock.
In other words, are they going on a 24-hour cycle the same time we are? Like it's 3 o'clock in that thing internally, like it's 3 o'clock out here?
Yes.
Okay, well, the program should be able to be set up, use that internal clock timer then, so that all the controllers are operating the same time, switching the same time. If they use the internal clock of the controller rather than just the timer in the logic circuit.
Well, that's where I depend on Baldwin and Sowers, Dave and Cliff to take care of that. That's not me, I'm not the programmer,
Right.
so.
Okay, well,
I depend
that's a
on them to take
suggestion.
care of that. Yeah, thank you for saying that.
Mr. Mayor?
Jeff, can we get Baldwin and Sowers back up here?
Yeah, I
Right
can.
now-
Take over.
Right now, when
So do you want to take over?
Charles Street east-west is a shorter time limit than Warren. And Warren is shorter than Rensselaer. None of them match. I know Rensselaer is the longest for some reason. And I think to Bill's point there, you know, maybe they should be all, whether it's 20 seconds or whatever. You know, I know up at the square, east-west is about 9 seconds or so. Those are even.
I believe in 2016 or 17, I think it was 17,
Yeah.
we had Dave come up
Yeah.
after I took over, and he went through all the intersections uptown, all the intersections in town, and he was able to sync them pretty close back then.
Yeah, it was.
Everything was pretty decent until we had that problem at Rensselaer Street, and that was It was electrical, it was conflict monitor, it was, you just name it, we had everything happen at one time up here.
So is that solved then?
That problem's taken care of.
Then we just need
As
to-
far as we know, it hasn't happened in a month since we fixed the conflict
Can we
monitor.
get them solvers up back up, maybe they can get it back where it was and.
I can have
It's not gonna
Dave-
Make it perfect, because like I mentioned the other night, the square is really the determining factor.
Can you let me know when he's gonna be here? Because I'd like to talk to you and him together.
Sure.
When do you think he can?
I don't know, I just have to call Dave up and see when he's available to come up. I don't know until I call him.
If you can give me plenty of notice so I can rearrange work schedule so I could come.
Yeah, sure. Yep. As soon as I find out something, I'll let you know, Mark.
Okay.
Bruce, question, do they by any chance have a way of not having the push button hard wire? I mean, do they have such a thing as having a push button across the street that would interface with the main control box through like, you know, like a cell phone type
Wi-Fi.
of operation where it could actually talk to the main box? I mean, without having a hard wire, if you're saying
Yeah, I see what you-
200 and some thousand or $250,000 to hardwire it, is there such a thing as? Yeah, like a Bluetooth or something that could talk back and forth between that crosswalk and the main.
I'm not aware of anything, but that's something I can ask
I
Dave.
don't know, I'm just asking.
Dave and Cliff, I can talk to him about that. Yes.
Can they be set up to be like they were prior to the downtown revitalization, where they just was on a straight timer where everything going one direction was green, and then the next cycle, everything going?
That would have to change, we have to change the square. That's the bottleneck.
That's what we were talking about the other night.
That's the bottleneck. If you may or may not remember, we used to be able to make a left-hand turn, whether you're going east or west, at the square, and it would hold two vehicles either direction. There was 4 lanes, and you could get 8 vehicles to make the turn.
Or you could go around.
Roundabout.
Or,
No,
I know a lot of it was.
no.
But that's the way it used to be.
You have to put 2 new lights. in the
But,
square.
and that would have to be changed again.
No left turn on east and west.
You have two options, like Mark said, that one, Greg Jim just said, no left turn.
I like that.
Those are your 2 options. Traffic.
But anyhow, I mean,
So to do a left turn, you'd have to drive all the way through and
Turn, yeah.
All the way
loop around.
And then we're gonna catch heck on that one, I can tell you.
Yeah, for me.
Yeah, for you.
You don't want to,
No, I'll get a hold of him, see if I can set up a time. I'll let you know, Mark. And Bruce, I'll ask that question for you then too.
Okay, I'm just talking about.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, sure thing.
thank you.
right, so we're in public lands now. Okay, 6:33, we're ending public lands.
Fall Economic Development Board at 6:33. Up first, we have the approval of the minutes from our last meeting that was the approval of.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Myers, second from Ms. Alsep, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Up next, we have something that's very important, and I apologize for my just being down. I've had a very bad day today. But we have our resolution for the GE lighting manufacturing in Bucyrus. Todd, would you like me to read through this, or would you like to read this?
I can go ahead and read it.
Okay.
I want to thank Mr. Mead for coming by this afternoon and dropping this off, because this is pretty much, this is what the union wants to, would like the resolution to address, with any other changes that we feel that we should make as well. So this is a draft from the GE Union City Council resolution to continue advocating for the return of all GE lighting manufacturing to Bucyrus, Ohio. Whereas Bucyrus, Ohio has been home to the GE Savant lighting plant for more than 60 years, providing good paying middle-class jobs in our close-knit rural community. And whereas this factory is a vital economic component for the region, supporting workers, families, and local businesses. And whereas Better in Bucyrus was a great slogan that we should revive today. And whereas Bucyrus needs a mixed economy that includes manufacturing along with retail, service, and agriculture. And whereas it is vital to America that the production of green lighting continue in America, and there is no better place for that to happen than Bucyrus. And whereas our mayor and the IUE CWA union representing the production and maintenance workforce at the GE lighting plant in Bucyrus are engaged in ongoing discussions with Walmart, GE, and GE Lighting's parent company Savant Systems. And whereas Senator Sherrod Brown is already involved in this outreach, and we hope to engage Senator Portman and Jim Jordan to also reach out to these corporations. And whereas the White House is engaging with these corporations to an extent beyond the usual formal protests common at times of plant closings and offshoring of product lines. And whereas the merchants in Bucyrus have joined in support of the workers at GE Lighting by posting signs of support in their storefront windows, therefore be it resolved that the Bucyrus City Council hereby makes explicit our continued support of all efforts to return production of the A19 LED bulb to its rightful home in Bucyrus. And be it further resolved that the Bucyrus City Council will request that Walmart, GE, and Savant Systems make whatever investment is necessary to bring production of the other bulb components, including the filaments, bulb bases, and glass to Bucyrus, so that Walmart and other retailers can promote our bulbs as more than assembled in the USA, but actually made in the USA. And if it is impractical to resume operations in GE Lighting's Bucyrus glass plant, production of the glass should be returned from Hungary to the GE Lighting facility in Logan, Ohio, which is also threatened with closing since the A19 line has been transferred to China.
Do we need a motion for that?
I was actually gonna, first I wanted to ask, does anybody have anything that they would like to see added?
I want to raise a question for clarification, and then if I get the answer, I think it's gonna be, I have a suggestion, but the third whereas Better in Bucyrus was a great slogan. That was a slogan that GE used. Is that correct, Bruce?
I'm not real sure.
I think it was the union that started that. I'm not real sure.
I'm not real sure.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with it either, but.
I had not heard it before, but
I have heard
the
it.
assumption to me would be that it came from somewhere out of the plant. I was gonna say, if you knew the answer to that, I would like to see that paragraph explain, whereas Better in Bucyrus was a slogan used in the 1980s to promote, or whatever, yada, yada, yada. I just wanted to add that in there if we knew the answer, but if we don't, then we're good.
So, did Will give this to you?
Jim dropped it off, I would ask that to Jim.
So Will might have the answer now. So, is that Will?
But I'm pretty sure it was within the GE realm. This was never put out as a promotion by General Electric.
Something amongst the Bucyrus employees at the Bucyrus plant.
Yeah, and the other plants,
And
yeah, our supply plants and supply
Are they
chains.
still using the we bring good things to light?
GE was, I don't know about GE Savant.
Okay. I wonder if we could tie that in somehow. Because, you know, just an idea. In that same whereas statement.
Well, I know that this is something that is, you know, it's critical that we get it out as quick as we can. Is there any way that we can give the approval for this with Mr. Evans' clarification on the Better in Bucyrus slogan?
I think we can request draft legislation as an emergency with the ability to change that third whereas if we get additional information to
So with.
explain that.
I just don't want to
As
slow this up
amended if.
anytime or anything. I
Yeah.
wouldn't, you know.
Is that correct, Rob? We can, okay.
All right, can I move to have this as draft legislation?
Emergency
With-
draft legislation?
Emergency draft legislation as amended, if we can get more information for that third whereas.
I have a first and I have a second to approve emergency draft legislation with the ability to amend when we find out the definition of Better in Bucyrus. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? I would like to, I guess I'm just going to take a moment, since I'm the chairman of this committee, to speak my opinion about this matter. And I personally, it frustrates me as somebody that's grown up and lived in this community my entire life, and I would think that as GE Savant, that they would be proud of the fact that their company has provided good jobs and livelihoods to this community for as many years as it has. I remember growing up in this community as a kid, going to school, and if your parents worked at GE, you had a good life. You know, I mean, your parents did okay, you had a good home, you know. So I would think that that company would be proud of being able to provide something like that to a community, and they would love that they can do that. So I really can't understand why you would want to leave here, but I just think it's a shame. There's a lot of great people that work out there, and it's been a great community business for years, and it's done wonderful things for us as well as for them. So that's all. Does anybody have any open projects that they would like to discuss?
Maybe we can think about the next one. See if we'll-
If nobody has anything else, I will recess at 6:39 PM. And thank you guys for your understanding of my life and the mess that I'm in.
All right, health and safety will come to order at 6:40 PM. First topic is the approval of our minutes from the March 4th meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Second. I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion passes. Up next is the car show street closures. Before you, you have the letter from the FOP Lodge 68, dated March 11th to the Bucyrus City Council, respectfully requesting permission to close the following streets on Saturday, June 12th, 2021 for the Cruising with the Cops Custom and Classic Car Show. They'd like to close the 100 block of East Warren Street from 7 a.m. till midnight. For the food court, Sandusky Avenue from Mary Street to Oakwood from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. midnight. We would also like to close Washington Square, 100 blocks of East and West Mansfield Street, 100 block of West Warren, 100 blocks of East and West Rensselaer, and 100 block of East and West Charles from 12 p.m. until 12 a.m. midnight. Your attention and support of this matter would be greatly appreciated, as this is a great event for our city. Respectfully, Tracy Keegan, FOP Lodge 68.
I'll make a motion to.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve.
Second.
A second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. That motion carries.
Mr. Chair?
Sir.
I talked with Tracy Keegan about this last week. I believe we can do this as regular legislation and be within the timeframe.
Agreed. Not on the agenda, but I got an email from Council President requesting to discuss EMS. So, Mr. President, I'll let you ask your questions.
Well, it was brought to my attention by multiple people, the fire chief, yourself, with the city's EMS proposal to the townships, that the numbers are way off. And it got brought up at the ambulance board meeting last night. They said that, the county prosecutor said that the city, well, he didn't say the city, but somebody went to the county commissioners seeing if they'd be willing to kick in some money to help take care of that, and I don't think they said yes on that, but I mean, we need to make sure these numbers are right. I don't want to put,
If I may,
yeah.
Go ahead.
about a month ago that we talked about EMS and we talked about the proposal we gave the townships, and we know it's really tight, but for the time frame that we gave them to be able to do anything to raise more money on their end to pay the subsidy was really too short of a time frame for them. So we know what we put together. I'll just say, it's very, very, very small. And the amount of help we gotta have to cover that. Now, I'm gonna speak for the mayor, but we did reach out to the commissioners, trying to be proactive on behalf of the townships in case we need that support if we don't get the SAFER grant. So we're trying to put together 2 or 3 options, if I may finish.
Yeah.
Okay, to make sure that we can fund it in the right way to give safe ambulance service to the townships and the city at the same time. So as we looked at the SAFER grant and we looked at where we're at financially, what kind of revenue we would generate, if we don't get the SAFER grant, it's gonna be really tight. I'm not gonna sit here and blow smoke up to nobody. But, you know, we're trying to work together. They're part of our community. And you know, we should have told them a year ago we were getting out, so they could have done a levy to raise money to go a different way if they didn't want to be part of the city. So I think, and the reason we put that tied a proposal together, because they didn't have time to do that. So when we met with them, we talked about you know, hey, we're gonna need your help. You know, we're working with the fire chief to try to make necessary arrangements for, you know, we get over by Cranberry or New Washington, and our guys gotta go to Willard because it's the closest hospital. They're gonna be gone for 2 hours. So we're trying to reach out to Willard and Shelby and Plymouth, and we get out that far to help. Maybe they'll go on that run and we won't. We're still putting all that together, and we're trying to work with the townships, and we're working on a contract that you guys would have to approve. So it's still work in progress. We got a meeting tomorrow morning with the chief. So, I mean, we're trying to put the plan together, and it's a little bit of here and a little bit of here, and we're trying to make it work for everybody. So that's the best I can tell you right now.
If I can add, you know, we're committed to a plan. We're not pulling our offer back. We think we can do it. It's critical that we, you know, keep this, at least give an offer to all the townships, because this Bucyrus is a bigger community than our borders. We reach out to quite a ways there, and it's a very good opportunity for this city to, you know, to not only cover and provide good services for everybody, but also to spread, you know, our influence out there too. And we will do this. We will make sure it works. We put a lot of thought in it already. There's moving parts right now. I reached out to the commissioners last week because I knew with the new American Restoration Act, or whatever it's called, they would be getting a substantial sum of money. And you know, now is a good time. I said, if we don't get the SAFER grant, consider, you know, at least for the first couple of years, you know, helping to fund that, so we can keep this district together until we, you know, can, you know, get our records together and our, you know, revenue together and our expenses. At least have some, as any new business, you know, we have plenty of information to go by. We can see what kind of runs have been going on. We've got empirical data. We know what it's going to cost us, basically, to staff. And it's pretty straightforward, but right now we have some moving pieces. We're not sure all, we don't have a contract yet. We don't know how many townships are in. And then, of course, the SAFER grant is another moving piece, too, which we won't know that until May.
Have you reached out to Mr. Kramer?
No, we didn't really think it's necessary.
That's his idea.
We didn't see, I mean, we don't even have enough of
But
our
we
own.
asked you guys to. We paid that man, what, $10,000 or something?
We already got that.
Yeah, but that was only for the city. This is for like a much larger area, and we discussed it, and you guys were gonna talk to him.
When we discussed it, I'll just say this, when we discussed it, in my mind, that was to really give us some more ammunition for the SAFER grant, and the time was too close. The SAFER grant application's already been put in, so, you know, at this point, I think Dr. Kramer has, you know, still has a lot of good ideas. He still has some work he'd like to do, but I don't think it was as timely of a thing to do because it's not gonna affect the grant now at this point.
So we didn't use it for the SAFER grant either?
We didn't have time to.
Well, he did review the SAFER grant that we put in.
Yeah.
We did reach out to them for that.
Yeah,
The
but
chief
he
said-
didn't update his proposal or his study to change the scope of what we're looking at.
Yeah, we really didn't have enough, you know, we don't have enough pieces fit together to spend $4,000 taxpayer money for right now, so we're not even ready for that.
$4,000 spent might save you $1 million going into red.
Oh, that's a huge exaggeration.
Sure.
Okay, quick question. The money coming from the government in this new round, it was mentioned multiple times when it was explained, firefighters, EMS. Are we looking at putting some of this money towards this, that the government's sending in this restoration? I mean, because they said it was going to local governments and state governments for that reason.
No, that's not one of the, it's like, you can't do that. That's not, I was on, Jeff was there today and a couple of people, Joyce was in on that. We were with National League of Cities and Ohio Municipal League. That's not one of the uses of this money.
Wasn't it to supplement budgets?
It's to supplement loss of revenue.
Right. Loss, okay.
Only loss of revenue, based on this year, last full fiscal year for us, which was 2018. So, you know, that's a whole different subject, but that would be the first option, that we would be guaranteed to have at least 2019 level of revenue for 3 years.
And I think you're referencing the article you sent me, and
Yeah.
that's, the difference there is it's not lost revenue because we weren't doing it
We weren't doing
prior
it
to
yet.
COVID. And I think that's where
Maybe.
the fine print gets us on that one.
That's why the safety grant's so important. Because
Yeah.
that is, for 3 years, we can add people there, add 100% coverage.
But then again, we're not even at 100% coverage for the fire department at this point, so.
Well, that's a whole different subject. We're talking about EMS stuff.
I have to disagree with the safety service director when he says that it's tight with the finances, with the proposed number we gave the township. It's not, I was told that what we should have offered should have been triple what we offered. And to say that it's going to be tight is just totally not accurate. That's, you guys screwed up when you gave them that proposal.
That's your opinion.
No, this is.
Hold on, we're gonna keep decorum here. We can discuss it, but let's keep it civil, please.
Can I go first?
Yes, sir.
Anybody that would say we're gonna lose $1 million, when your total revenue is only $700,000, is using hyperbole. So anything you say has to be couched in hyperbole. So if you're gonna say that it's gonna be tight, yeah, Mr. Wagner said that, yeah. We did increase the subsidy of what they were paying last year by about 20%. And we're increasing it the second year substantially. The third year goes up even more. So when he says it's going to be tight, what he's talking about is the first year. We think we can do that. We have a financial plan to do that, and we will present that as soon as we get that. We will make sure we balance the budget. Everything else is speculation on your part right now.
The proposal to the townships on the third year is $20 per capita. Go look at other communities that are paying for ALS ambulance service and see what those communities' tax monies are costing per capita. We're not even in the ballpark
Why don't
at
you wait
20.
and see what we propose, and we'll tell you where the expenses are going to be, but give us a
Well,
chance.
here's the other issue I got. An agreement between the city of Bucyrus and the Central Joint Ambulance District has to be passed by a resolution of the people sitting up here. We were not even invited to the discussions of you putting this plan together. You threw an offer out there and you don't have the authority.
So was that the issue, that you didn't have any control over
That's
this?
the issue.
I asked back in January at a council meeting to be included in these meetings, and it's on record. And I was not included in these meetings. And then you throw a proposal in my lap 3 hours before the ambulance board meeting, and then Mr. Wagner's over there in the meeting. You're on board with this, right? You're on board with this. I haven't had time to review it at that point.
Well, if you remember correctly, if I may speak, I told the district that it had to be approved by council.
We should have been involved every step of the way.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion.
We're putting something together. We're going to present it to you. We will have a strong case, and you can accept it or reject it.
When you do, I'll request that, and as well as having it in writing, I'd like you to go through it step by step and explain how you arrived at where you're at and all that, and I think that'll help people understand where you're coming from.
We will certainly do that.
I was just gonna say, could we have a little less of this, I hate you? Because you're attacking him, he's attacking you, he's jumping over here from the side. We all need to work together. When I hear a video or a tape that you send us via email, that makes you guys sound like you're doing nothing but putting things down and the city down at a meeting, we all look bad. We all do. people say things to all of us when we weren't even there. It's not appropriate. Can we please work together?
I'm willing to work together. I said I'd be willing to go to the meeting back in January. I was not invited.
All right, so you guys are gonna continue working on your stuff and you bring information to us as it becomes available. All right. Pardon me. Any other open projects in health and safety that anybody would like to bring up this evening?
Not this evening, sir. Thank you.
Okay, with that, at 6:55, health and safety is out.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call Service Committee to order at 6:55 PM.
Approval of minutes? Would you like a motion?
Yes, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, motion passes. ODOT, salt, yeah, whatever.
O-Dog?
ODOT,
Dog?
Have that.
yeah. Mr. Wagner, it's kind of a,
Yes, this is our annual resolution that we need to do to be part of the ODOT bid when they go out to bid for salt, for our road salt. And as you know, the winter, other than a couple weeks there in February, we are sitting on quite a bit right now, but we feel the pricing is probably gonna be down this year. So we would like to still be part of that contract, and we're requesting for 800 ton.
and this will be an emergency type thing?
Yeah, we have to have it turned in by the end of April.
Okay, go ahead, Mark.
How much does this save us by going into that? I mean, how much is it normally to bid if you were to just go up and ask?
It varies, but it could be anywhere from $20 to $25 a ton.
By going this way?
Going this way. And right now, if for next year we have a mild winter, we got someplace to store it.
Good.
So it's not sitting outside. We got plenty of room in the dome salt bin at ODOT, so we got room for it.
Okay.
And then maybe next year we won't have to bid.
In the past number of years, the 800 ton has been kind of a go-to a quantity that we've been doing, so that's nothing unusual. So, okay, I need a motion and a second.
I'll move to approve the request emergency legislation to enter into a contract with ODOT.
Second.
You got me now.
Oh, no.
She seconded.
Second by Lisa, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Water line expansion, Mr. Wagner.
Yes, I didn't get these to Todd at the time, so I made my own copies for you.
Well, at least we get one tonight. Thank you.
Take 3. There's just take
Take
them on
one.
There,
yourself.
I'll let you do it.
As we've been talking about Stetzer Road,
Thanks, son.
You need one?
it is still at the EPA, but as you can see, your top sheet, we're at estimated 766. And in our budget, when Lynn first gave me that 2 years ago, we put 900 in last year. But this year, we carried it over and we added 200 because we thought it was gonna go up. But we bid the State Route 98 water line, and that is on the second sheet. If you look at the Stetzer Road proposal of $1.1 million, and with his proposed cost of 766, we could probably hopefully save at least, I'm gonna say 400,000. Because if you look at the next bid with State Route 98, his estimate was 581, it came in at 423. So we're gonna save 157,000 there. So with that being said, I'm hoping Stetzer Road comes in a little lower and we'll save some more money. So the first thing on Stetzer, I'd like to be able to go out to bid while we're waiting on it to come back from the EPA. We do have 40-some people already wanting it, but when it comes back from there, it'll go out to bid. We will send letters out to get financial commitment from those people to make sure we have at least that many people wanting it, which, since we lowered the water rate, I think we're gonna get more.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
No, it's true.
So I'd like to go out to bid at the 766. It's got a contingency already in there. And as soon as we get it back from the EPA, I'd like to have Lynn put it out to bid.
I'd like to make a motion to request emergency legislation authorizing and directing the administration to go out
Second.
to bid.
Okay, I got a motion, I got a second. Anyone else? Any discussion a little bit? No? I do have a question in between time here. So, you know, the possibility of us getting additional customers is very high. So then we'll be able to reassess maybe whether we could go as far as Parcher then maybe.
Oh, I'll answer that question if I may go on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
He wanted to.
That's okay. It's on the second
Okay.
page with Stetson Road Route 98. I did get a projected cost to take the line from County Road 330 to Stetson Road on Parcher. We do have some interest back there, maybe 7 or 8, but we're sending out new letters to see if there's interest. As he quoted 375, you know, hopefully that's 275, but I don't know that. But he's been high on his bids. People are looking for work, and if you line these up right, with the person that bid on State Route 98, he'll walk right into the next job and he'll be here if things work out. But we still have to put it out to bid. So we potentially could save some additional money on that quote also. So I would like permission to go ahead and send those letters out to Parcher, anticipating a good bid on Stetson Road.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and vote on the first measure, then all in favor on the first measure.
Aye.
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 And
Okay,
I'll make a motion for the second measure of sending more letters out.
and that'll be like an emergency type thing.
An emergency, yes.
And,
We don't need legislation to say.
well, yeah, I guess,
Yeah.
but
I just
it'll be a
want- I
voice
just want
vote,
you guys to-
if nothing else, a voice
It's a voice
vote, whether we're in
So, you wanna
support of
second
it.
No, I'm
Yes.
giving my yay.
Oh, you're yay?
Lisa?
I'm saying go for it.
Okay.
And if I may, I got one more.
Sure.
The last page with the colored blueprint there, we kind of put that together. If you see at the top of the page where it says Richton,
That's
I
north
do
of-
believe on the Annapolis decal, they do have water from Northern Ohio Rural Water. And they are now down to Lemert Road, that dead ends at Conley, which is only 2 miles out of Sulphur. So my thought process was, as we look at what we potentially could save on these 3 projects, we put towards maybe trying to go ahead and send letters out to Sulphur if we might be able to get commitment from them this time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I
We're
mean,
already heading out that way.
That's like fishing for interest, is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Speak my language, Jeff.
you're darn right.
Well, you're trying to
My
stop
water,
them.
But
And I
I'm
think
gonna,
Yeah.
to give them a sales pitch that the cost has gone down.
yeah,
Yes,
we got that
that's-
all in the letter.
okay,
We're
good.
now down at a lower rate. And
and we're like, what, a tenth of whatever cheaper?
Now,
I think it's about the same. I'd have to double check,
Doesn't matter.
Bruce. I'm not accurate.
Yeah, no, I'm
I
just,
do have one
I
question.
would like those
Yeah.
numbers.
If you take these customers on out that far, you're also offering them trash service, am I
No.
correct?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
That's what I was told.
No.
That's what I was checking, I was like,
No.
wow.
That fund could not afford to do that.
No, that's what I was checking.
Mr. Chairman?
yes,
Could I add something in here? I spoke with a friend of mine who has recently gone on the Northern Ohio Rural Water at the northern line up there where they come down here. And he still comes to Bucyrus and gets drinking water because he said that the chlorine level in their water is so high that they can't stand it to drink. So that's something to keep in mind, something that if our chlorine level is down to the point that doesn't offend customers, that maybe they have to sell in point to get sulfur.
Advertise our water tastes better.
yeah, it's so good, we're gonna start bottling it,
That's
like,
right.
like Doug Wilson used to say.
Yeah,
Yeah, Doug's do,
Better than Bucyrus.
you're better than Bucyrus.
there you go.
Go ahead.
So their water typically comes from Lake Erie, or Willard possibly, but a long way down, you know, you know.
Sits in the pipes a long time.
Ours doesn't.
Here it's only 5
That's
miles.
all I was gonna say.
It's only 5 miles to Salford.
It's 4.0 from Beach.
But I'm saying from the city it's 5.
Correct.
Mr. Wagner, I do believe that we're giving you your blessing to go ahead and go that far, you know, for the, you know,
Okay,
fishing here.
see what I can reel in.
Go
Yep,
fishing.
go
All
fishing.
right, I'll go fishing.
Okay. Well, I'm
Thank
not-
You got good bait.
You could go walk door to door.
I could.
On Saturday.
I just have to
Sunday
make a
after
good
church.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and recess at 7:05.
I will call finance order at 7:05. As you see, approval of minutes.
So moved.
I have a first and second. All those in favor say aye. Motion passed. Okay, street garage. Well,
We already talked about it.
we already talked about it. We just have to wait for more information before
We'll
we
get
get
the,
for an
we'll
appraisal.
Okay. Water line
If I could-
expansion.
If I could just
Yes.
share a thought on that too. Once we, determine what we know, when they get the rest of the incidental costs back from J&F Construction, there's nothing wrong with putting that building up for bid with a reserve of what we need to get to try to be revenue neutral as well, so.
I agree. Okay, water line expansion. What do you need from us?
Well, really the only thing that I would like to do is be able to go out to bid for Stetzer Road upon approval of the EPA.
I would make that motion as an emergency.
So I have a second.
Second.
That was the second.
Okay, is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of the emergency legislation, say aye.
Aye.
All right, those opposed, same sign.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
would you just go ahead and make it for, be on the same side, 800,000? Or you can do the 775, I don't care which, but I'm gonna need a number in there not to exceed. Which. I
We
think-
budgeted 1.1, why don't we just keep it there, but go with the lowest bid?
Well, I don't wanna put that out there. I want to get them down there.
That's fine,
cheap.
then,
Okay, I'll change mine to what, 775 or 800?
Yeah, I mean, he's already got
See
10%
800.
built in there.
not the 800?
Let's go 6.
I like Jim's language.
Whatever Mr. Wagner recommends,
Yeah.
that's what my motion is.
If you wanna do 800, that's fine.
Yeah.
Since
All
I
right.
did that.
All those in favor of the 800,000, say aye.
Aye.
All right, those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Okay, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, thank you. I'll come over here. I think you actually got 2 sets in the handouts there, to give you some facts. I'm not gonna bore you by going through all of that, but I wanted to kind of go over some things that Aaron brought up a good point, we just, there's, fire department wants more people, police department wants more. It's been a struggle because our tax revenue has just been flat for about 5 years now. And as costs per employee go up, the only way we've been able to balance the budget is to not replace some people. So tonight I'm just going to ask you to consider, a radical shift. I know we all in this room want the best for this city. There's a lot of things that are done here on a shoestring budget, nothing more though than the parks. And, we've suffered primarily, from population loss of really almost 10% here in this century. And that gives you a lot of problems because you basically, when you're managing decline, it's very difficult to keep the staff level of everything. So we've been doing better in that 20 to 29 age group, which I think is very good. But we got to keep them. Those are the people that are going to stay here and have children and work. But I think what we're trying to do is propose something very radical to take a stand now and
try to make a difference in the quality of life. A lot of our administration is improving the quality of life in the city. We've got a nice city. I mean, it's nice. I got a comment today how clean it was, and that's not the first time. We get that quite often. Our parks are wonderful on a shoestring budget. I don't know how they do it. I really don't. But we're getting a little long in the tooth on some of our apparatus there. When we go to have to spend $300,000 on a swimming pool repair, you have to borrow the money, and we haven't been able to afford to pay most of it back. So I would like to get these parks on a little bit more of a substantial footing, asking the residents to vote for a very small tax increase. One of the main things is to obviously decrease our population, attract businesses, but a big one is to our community health, and I'm not sure, you'll see some things in there about our health of our community that was done through the partnership and through the health department here. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of stats, but we're heading in the wrong direction. We went from 35% obese to 49% in 3 years, and it's not good. Mental health issues were not improved at all, and and we can see that's even before COVID last year. So, and we haven't surely made any improvements on those. At the same time, though, you see a lot of people out at the parks. Last year, I think, was a record number. And this year, as soon as you got any weather, the place has been packed. I think people want to get out. And the sedentary lifestyle leads to life expectancy decreases. It's decreasing now for the first time in decades. And diabetes is rampant here. The percent of people who have diabetes over 65 is almost 27%. It's gone up, like tripled here in the last 25, 30 years. There's a lot of things that are competing with exercise and getting outside. Cell phones, big screen TVs, internet. I mean, we all have them, and it's fun to sit in front of them. But we got to make sure that we're here to make life better for the people that live here. And I let you go through there on your own thing, on your own time. I think our responsibility as community leaders is to encourage change, to give people the option to get out, to make our parks better, and encourage people to get there and enjoy using them more, and increase our health, increase our population. We've got to start increasing our population. That is critical, that we have to stem the tide there. If you look at, I think in one of those, there's what's called Parks Pulse. And this is from the National Recreation and Parks Association, a national organization. And it gives you the stats, overwhelming support for parks against all generations, especially young people, Generation X and millennials. These are the guys that really, really are driving the impetus in parks, right? And government officials too, 95% personally use their local parks. And I'm sure we have 4 nice parks here. And I'm sure you would all agree that they benefit the community. Hang on just a second here. Lots of good information coming out. I just would draw your attention to that Wall Street Journal article that came out last month about the benefit. It blew me away when I read this. I was just shocked. It said 2 hours in the park, it makes the world of difference in mental health, decreased anxiety, heart rate, blood pressure, depression, and fatigue. Anti-cancer natural killer cells, significant increase when you get outside and walk. And it's incredible. And these are all documented things. And read through that. A 45-minute walk in nature can make a world of difference to mood, creativity, and ability to use your working memory, which is good for me because, mine isn't as good as it used to be. So we try to get out quite a bit. So look through that on your own time. There's plenty of good stats in there, too. A couple more things I want to draw your attention to before I close. was able to research off of the internet comparative park budgets, and that's on this page towards the back. I took, I think 10 or 11, with their population, with their budget, and their per capita income. It went from a high of $116 per person in Bellevue, and then all the way down to us, we're last, $13. The next lowest was Marion, which was 18, and then most of them are in the 20s, 30s, 50s range. So, and all of these other cities had something in common. Their population was either stable or growing. So I want to draw that correlation of how important the parks are to the city. And I think the people, if you would allow the people to choose on this, I think they would support this thing. We're asking for a very small 0.00125% increase to go on the ballot, which would cost the average household less than $1 a week. Income tax. That would be less than $1 a week. The reason I wanted to propose an income tax is we have so many renters here. You know, so, excuse me. On the last page is proposed use of funds. Last 2 pages. Just some ideas. One thing I think is very critical. We hire a parks director. Somebody who would be responsible for maintenance, as well as the overseeing of programs. You know, classes. A lot of cities have parks directors that have classes for kids in the summer, have classes for adults, yoga, those types of things too. It's like we have a director for all of our other departments. So important there. All Miller Park, I think, we've talked about bathrooms. Yeah, we've talked about paving the parking lots. The pool house needs more repair. Another pavilion. We like the idea of, in the area where the volleyball court was, to putting in, we do not have a really nice infant and toddler place. Kids Kingdom's beautiful, it's wonderful, but it's not really for the small kids. We want a special one just for them, right in that area. Lighting for the ball fields. There's, I walk out there quite a bit. It's a little dangerous walking on the road. You got walkers, and you got people driving. Some of them driving pretty quickly, and a lot of them on their cell phones. Almost got hit there about 2 weeks ago. So we're talking about putting a path just to the outside of that of maybe 10 feet. So walkers and bike riders could get on that. Other things, Splash Park we've talked about. Harmon Park needs some things. We'd like to put more kids' equipment up close to the soccer field so mothers and fathers can watch their kids play while they're watching soccer games. Lions Field, we talked about improving State Park. We need even things like mulch we have to go out and beg for. And a city our size shouldn't really have to do that. So rather than taking any more time, this would generate about $350,000 a year. And obviously, we're not going to get all of those things done. The pool was $300,000 by itself, but we can have a 10-year plan of how we're going to improve these parks over 10 years. Thank goodness we have had people like Kiwanis and Rotary, like they put the pickleball. Rotary's they put up the Nappy bandstand, and they're going to do the roof. Yeah, we don't even, getting $5,000 for the roof. Thank goodness for those folks doing that. Ohio Polytech donates the mulch, but it's just treading water. So I'm asking you to let's step out. Let's let the people decide, like they did on safety forces and the streets. 70% of the people, I think, it approved the streets. I think the folks in this town will support this. I really think they will, and I would like to give them the opportunity to vote for better parks. I think long term, our future Bucyrus is going to depend on this. Mr. Truca?
Is there a way I could get on the wish list?
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that we could do that would be a secure facility somehow? I mean, there's a lot of smart people out there when it comes to security. To be able to actually have a better facility at
Very good point, too. Othwaite is not actually a city park. But we,
Yeah, but there's a lot of fishermen out there. and-
oh, I know. I walked a path around there, which we have some debate whether we want to pave that, stone it, or let it in grass. One of the things we've got proposed to do there is to upgrade the facilities, the shelters, and then also, I don't know if any of you.
There's not enough trees out there, so I mean, you know, you almost have to have an upgraded bathroom is what
Yeah.
I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay.
The bathroom was state of the art.
Well,
Wow.
so it's not good enough where the fish go, you go? Okay, never mind.
Well, unless you're way
I have-
up to your waist.
I do
Pretty
have
sure there's some
suggestions
laws
for people that I've
against, you know,
spoke with about this,
public
because I have kind of been
exposure.
feeling people out.
Yeah. Lisa's got a question.
I think everyone wants to have better parks. The parks director is a problem for people.
Okay.
To see the money spent on that rather than
The actual.
upgrading the actual park and the facilities. I'm just saying,
Sure. Well, that's.
because people have told me that. You're right about the bathrooms.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to hire
Yeah.
a park, you could hire a summer parks director, you don't have to have a full.
I'm just saying, if
Yeah.
you want something like this to pass,
Okay,
people just say, does he have a friend that needs a job? I'll be honest, I'll just tell you.
I don't have any friends.
Well, that's because you're married.
Oh, it's nobody,
Yeah.
nobody
but
likes me.
People want to see their money go toward the actual,
Well, that's a
Upgrades.
good,
That's all I'm
that's a
saying.
very good point you make,
that's
so.
all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
That's my 2
that's a-
cents.
Yeah, well, that's not written in stone, these are just things that I'm kind of throwing out there, and
And, you know, getting more soccer fields isn't gonna help. We can't keep them up from being underwater.
Well, and I didn't understand what you meant when you said 4 parks.
we're gonna put the soccer fields up there where the houses were torn down, that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Okay, they're wanting to
We'd also
remove
like
them.
parking.
I didn't
but-
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's plenty of room up there.
When you
Park-
said there's
parking
4
would be nice.
parks.
We have 4 parks,
Where are they? I
Okay.
know there's Lions, All Miller, Harmon.
Shines, Art Park.
Okay,
Yeah,
the
Shines
art park. I was
Yeah.
confused.
And I didn't
What about
have any
picking?
improvements to Shines Art Park because we're using the grant money for the stage there, and I think that's in pretty good shape.
Is Picking
Although-
Park a city park?
That's Kiwanis, it's owned by Kiwanis.
That's private.
Well, the land is owned by the city, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna
Kiwanis
say,
takes takes
But
care
they
of that.
maintain
Yeah, but I was gonna
Yeah.
say, I thought Helen had donated that.
We're kind of, people say we don't need, the national stats are in there. For our size, we should have around 7 or 8 parks. I'm not proposing that we have more parks. There's a lot
To
that
be
we
able to
need to do.
maintain what we have.
And improve what
Nice.
we have.
Yes.
I see kids playing on the Kids Kingdom and the moms kind of watching after, but,
Yeah.
and our swings are not in good, I mean, they're,
When I was a kid,
Yeah,
I
some
played
are
at
good.
Harmon Park all the
Yeah.
time, and I
Yeah.
remember going down there, and there was a building and a
Mhm.
person that actually worked there,
Mhm.
and you could go in and,
Yes.
please don't, this is telling my age, but you could sign out
yeah.
the basketballs, you could sign out
Well,
games, and, I mean, I
They
know
said
we
it all,
can't
but
go back to that way, but
what do you think of the idea of putting a court in up by the soccer fields?
What type of court?
Basketball court.
there is one.
There's one over by the.
Over by the-
playground That keeps getting
because
torn up.
By the soccer field?
I saw about 20
Where's
kids
that?
playing basketball the other day. when it
No,
was
by the
like that.
soccer fields, up on the east side, across Lane Street.
On the other side.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the lighted soccer, like the football field, you know.
Okay,
Up
oh,
there.
and that's all you gotta say, because that was a
Yeah,
football field
yeah.
when I was a kid.
So I'm
I think
trying,
we need more soccer fields up there as it is. I mean.
yeah, well, we do, and that's,
And that's the other thing we've got is all these groups are competing. Nobody's working together. The baseball, the softball, the soccer, and they're all
Well-
competing for the same money in town.
so
I
you
mean,
think we should have a director?
I'm thinking that we should put them under an umbrella and maybe have them all work together to make things work.
Do you want to chip in here, chime in on that or anything?
Not really, no.
Okay, thank you.
Well, they all kind of do their own thing. I mean, the Little League and the Adult Softball League are working together now because the Little
They
League
take care of
has
the
grown.
fields.
And they're gonna share fields and responsibility and.
Yeah.
They're working
so
better together
they're
than
doing a
they
great
have.
job. Harmon Park, with the soccer fields, yeah,
They mow it and everything, yeah.
Oh, I know.
they got that
maintain
thing
those
packed
parks.
and,
Yeah.
you know, they take that and Mr. Work and Dave Kepke, they're great running it. They've taken care of it, maintained it.
I don't know where we'd be without those
And the
organizations. The Little League and the softball league and the soccer and then, combined with the service clubs,
And the Little League does maintain their own fields.
Yes,
too.
it
At
does.
no cost to the city.
They do.
Wouldn't it be nice to have
Well,
lights
They mow
there?
the fields
That's
at
what they're doing
Lions
over
too.
there at the soccer fields, but that's what I'm saying, like, if we could bring them together, so, because they are the ones that are down there on the fields,
Yeah, okay.
knowing what's going on, so you've got this board, this board, this board, if we had somebody from each board come together, so they could work together to figure out, because
Well,
they would know more about where we would need help with money and stuff
we
anyway.
we could put that in a committee and then have a structure to it. That's easily done, if the levy gets passed, so.
I've been thinking a lot about
Even if it
this
didn't.
levy, and I would really like to see improvements in parks. I think if it's done right, the citizens would possibly pass it. I actually think that a property tax would have more chance at passing if it was a
That affects your elderly community.
a non-permanent one, like 3 years at a time, just do it 3 years at a time. That way, if the people don't see improvements getting done, they can say, well, we're not gonna pass it the next time. And I also don't think that the director's a good idea, if people are gonna,
Well, that's what I was saying, if we could get these groups that all use the park, that have boards already, if you had one person from each board, so they can go back to their board and get the information, come together, we wouldn't need a director, we'd have people able to work together.
and also as an employer myself, I look at the, attraction of business coming into our community, and they do look at the income tax rate. If they want to open a business in town versus outside the city limits. And this, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is 1/8%, right?
Yeah.
It's an 1/8%.
So typically it's a quarter of it, like a safety force.
So I look at a city like Delaware, whose income tax rate is 1.85%. Ours is already higher at 2%, and to put it up even more at 2 1/8, why would a business come here when they could go down to Delaware and the income tax rate's
Well,
lower?
you're looking at that also just for income, but their property taxes are
Yeah,
absurd.
and I
You-
will
you have
say
to
that
look
if
at
you
the
raise
property
people's
tax.
property taxes, you're affecting an elderly community that is on a fixed income. If you want to tax people, at least tax the people that are working.
But,
I
well,
agree.
we can discuss this.
But I have all the income tax rates, state of Ohio. For poor communities like we are, most of them are 2 to 2.5 now, and unfortunate, but it's just to maintain the level of services. I mean, you can't compare us to Delaware or Dublin or Hudson or any of those.
Yeah, I would say
It's-
to the
it's-
president's point, a lot of these places are lower, but it's the buying power thing.
Yeah.
There's, how many tens of thousands of people that live there,
Yeah.
and I wish we had that luxury.
Yeah, we're the same as Dublin.
Yeah.
Dublin has, their household income is 5 times ours, and they have a beautiful park system.
Yes,
We're not trying to be Dublin, we're trying to be Bucyrus.
I did a little bit of math here, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a math wizard. But initially, when I heard this idea, I was really against it, because I was thinking, well, we're coming out of a pandemic, why are we asking people for more money? But the more I've thought about it, the more I've read into it, now looking at these numbers, if you're gonna increase that by 350,000, that puts us around $42.37 per capita. And that puts us not even in the 50th percentile of this list that you provided.
We're still in the
40th
lower end of it, yeah.
And so, I think, and when I question two things. Number one, do I want to pay $52 a year? Absolutely, I'm fine with that. Do I want to ask other people to? That's for them to decide, But I guess I just wanted, I know, I've spoken, out that I was not in favor of it initially. And I guess I'm now seeing a different side to it with this chart. So I think this chart's something good to share.
It all ties in with even things like GE, and Timken, Go ahead.
When KKR come in, or Savant Systems,
Yeah.
when they came in, they flew in the airport, came down Bill, went down Walnut, pulled in parking lots, spent 2 hours in the plant.
I know.
Went out the same way. They never went down through town, they never visited our parks. That's sad.
I know.
It's really sad.
I know.
Because
It
that's
is.
a beautiful town. But that's the reality of it.
That's the reality of the situation. You're exactly right, yeah. So
I think it's a great idea.
Mhm.
I don't think we can afford it as a town, but if you think we should vote on it, then.
I'm requesting that you allow.
I would rather
Yeah.
have the people vote on it
Yeah.
than kill it here.
Yeah. I appreciate
Yeah, I'm not trying to kill it.
Yeah.
But
I'm open to any
if you had a defined
suggestions.
plan
Mhm.
of where the money was going to be spent.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yes.
you
Well,
can't- You can't be throwing the director out there when 50% of the people are gonna be against that.
That's why. That's what I.
Well,
that's what
we
I
will
said.
have,
That's why I was talking about
if you allow this to go to ballot, we will we'll form a committee, and we'll let people know where, we'll have a plan. We'll have a 3-year, what's prioritized 3-year, 5-year. We'll go over this with you folks, and, we'll put that out, and we're not gonna try to, sneak it through or anything. We're gonna present it and present a case for it, why we need it. And so.
Can I ask who
Hold on.
sets?
Can you write that down?
Hold on.
Right, what that?
That you're gonna make sure to,
Yeah.
Kevin.
Are you seeking a permanent or a renewable?
Yeah, I'd like to do permanent, just because.
I'm gonna vote, I'm gonna tell you right now, that'll be a no vote for me.
Okay.
I concur with that.
I'd like to see no more than 5 years.
Okay.
5-year renewable.
That's one reason I ran for council, because of the permanent levy that got put onto us. I want it so that it holds our feet to the fire, that it has to be used the way it's played. Renewable, people will renew it, as you see with the street levy. They renew it because they see their money
Being used.
being used.
Is that general consensus then? Or-
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine,
Yes.
that's fine, that's not a problem.
I'm not speaking for everybody else, but I think 5 years is perfect.
Okay, that's how, we have, streets are 5 or 7, Jeff?
7.
7 on
Okay.
that.
Okay, that's fine.
5 years
Well,
makes
then
more sense.
we will make it work in 5, and we'll have to make a case in 5 more years. Who's ever in these seats, so.
How much does it cost us to put a levy on a ballot?
This year's 0, because it's already an election year. It'll be, be 0.
If that's the case, maybe does it make more sense when you're going for renewals to do it on a 4-year so that it's always on a presidential year?
Well, you'll have,
2 or 4 years.
you'll still have, every November you'll
There's an
have.
election every November.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's in November. You'll still have elections in at those Novembers. Yeah, you'll have.
Go ahead.
If we do form a park committee,
That's what I was thinking.
can we do it through council passing legislation, and so it's an official sanctioned committee that has to take minutes so that people can look back and see 20 years later what the minutes, why people decided to do things a certain way? Because
Keeps it above board.
It keeps it above board.
it's kind of one of my issues with the Bicentennial Commission is it's not actually a sanctioned thing of the legislative body of this city. I mean, we did it with the tree commission is we did it that way, but for some reason the Bicentennial didn't get done that way.
Well, this could possibly, like Kevin just said, it would go under public lands and buildings, because
Oh,
it is.
thanks.
It is an idea.
Yeah,
But
I
anyhow,
think it should.
it does.
You don't need a decision today. You want us to look this over, give us a little time to look this over to,
Yeah, if you,
and we can talk about it at the next.
we just have to, I think,
90 days before the general election. we
okay,
have
so
to-
we, yeah,
Well,
we,
yeah, we got plenty of time, but we're
but I-
not gonna wait that long.
No.
but I would need time to raise money for a PAC, form a PAC, so.
Right,
The sooner you could, the better.
I'm saying if we give us 2 weeks to look it over and.
I have a question actually on his packet.
Mhm.
On the page where you said the communities, because I know people are gonna ask me.
Sure.
On the page where it shows how much per capita each
Yes.
community pays,
Mhm.
I want to know who or where this budget's set from, where that money's, like, you're saying, here's a Van Wert,
Yeah.
they pay $38 per capita.
Right.
Who decides this $150,000?
That's what we spent on ours, the bottom one. That's what we roughly, I average it over the years.
And that comes out of the general fund?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So we could raise that.
No, we can't.
If we had money.
If we had money, we can. It would have to come out of police or fire.
So
to
what, I
raise
guess
that.
what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
what I'm asking is, if your levy passes and
Uh-huh.
it generates, how much did you say again?
Around 350.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're gonna take that
That-
whole 350 and you're gonna put it right there?
I'm gonna
Not
put-
just in the general fund?
No, it'll
but
be
you're
in
gonna
Parks
put it right
budget.
there in
No,
Parks
it
budget?
It can't be used for anything else.
Yeah, just be
Okay,
part
that's
of
what I was
levy.
asking.
Right. It'll
That's
be
what I wanna
parks.
be sure, because my friends are gonna ask me that.
It'll be parks, it'll be only for parks only.
Okay, so this will be a
Are we gonna pull what we do with
$500,000.
everything else and then pull that original 150 that we normally set aside out of parks and only?
No,
use
we'll
this?
probably keep that
Not a
because
probably, we need to know it definitely, that'll be something.
This will be
people want.
I plan
$500,000.
to keep that.
That actually is up to this body every year.
Yeah, you have to
Okay.
approve the budget, so.
He can
Good.
guarantee that's what.
But I think
It's
we
one of
would
those
need
things
it.
I've been watching do with everything else.
Yeah.
One more thing.
Okay.
I didn't see you, Jim.
The position of Parks Director, I don't think is currently on the bill, so we could
No, I don't think so.
force not having one by not allowing that to be put on the bill. Just,
Yeah, but
If we can
to that point though, I think if we're worried about the public sentiment.
I don't think they'll
having that
pass
as
it
part
with
of
the Parks
plan,
Director.
Saying that we're not gonna do that probably is a good thing to.
Yeah,
to-
I thought more people would be in favor of that, so, because
We
other
can,
towns
let's
have.
discuss it, it could be either
Okay.
permanent or seasonal, and we
Yeah.
show it to the public. We're not gonna hide anything.
Yeah.
So, let's not close it, let's
I wouldn't
discuss
close it, I just gave you my opinion, that was all.
It's all right.
No,
Appreciate
it's
it.
fine. I agree, we gotta really watch how we spend the money so it's utilized.
It's,
I'm putting this out here now, Splash Park.
we got it on there.
He's got the
It's on there, Jim.
I will say, I looked into how Marion paid for theirs, it was nice.
At least.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, the last thing I'll say is I know when they had designed a new pool for Marion, it was in the millions, so.
But it was paid for a lot by grants and community, I spoke with them,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
it's okay. I take my grandkids there.
Sure. Oh, don't tell them.
Okay,
Thank you, everybody.
thank you. We have open projects, if not, we will think about any of the open projects and we
Think
can
about.
discuss them.
I like thinking.
All right, 7:37, I'm adjourning, closing. And,
The finance, closing the finance.
yes, finance, public participation. Bill?
Sure.
Are you participating?
You can do
say
it from right there, Bill, we know you
I
are.
don't really have anything more to add really than the email that I sent to all of you for my opinion. Other than, I just do want to say that this is asking for $350,000 essentially to be pulled out of our economy. That this is, I don't know, say we have 350 businesses, small businesses here. This is $1,000 coming out of revenue of those businesses that people aren't going to have to spend at those businesses, for one thing. For another thing, I can see that, you know, this may pass because of a good portion of the population, I'm not saying a major portion of the population, but a good portion of the population having household incomes of $50,000 or greater, which the tax that they would have to pay additional with this increase wouldn't be that devastating to them. But there are a lot of people that are of the lower income levels, down $30,000 range, that even, I don't know what that is, maybe $35 a year. But that $35 a year could make the difference of them being able to allow their kids to enjoy the pool at the park and be involved in those sports programs, baseball programs, softball programs, because of the fees that are associated with those. Now, another portion of the residents that will be voting for this will be people like me that do not have taxable incomes anymore. And a major portion of those will probably vote for it because it's not going to affect us. But I'm still against it because of the fact that it's going to pull that revenue, not the revenue from the city, but it's going to pull that money out of the economy, and it's also going to hurt the lower income families.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you, Jim. Bill, I'm sorry, it's been a long day.
What's in his cup?
Oh, it's been a long day.
He's been drinking your juice.
Yeah.
I've been up since 4:30, so anyhow, with no other further public participation, I'm asking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All right.
Aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion at 7:40, we're adjourned at 7:40.
Some signatures here, Jim.
I don't leave, I know.
Yeah, and